The story of Muhammad Ali. Welcome, English learners. Today you will read the inspiring life story of Muhammad Ali. This story is written in simple English to help you improve your reading skills while learning about one of the most famous athletes and humanitarians in history. Enjoy this journey through his courage, faith, and dreams. Chapter 1. A Boy with a Dream. Muhammad Ali was not born with that famous name. He first came into the world as Cassius Marcellus Clay Jr. on January 17, 1942, in Louisville, Kentucky, USA. His father, Cassius Clay Sr., painted shop signs and billboards to earn money. His mother, Odessa Grady Clay, worked as a housemaid. She cleaned homes and cared for other people's children. Life was not easy for the Clay family. They were poor, and America at that time was filled with racism. Black families could not eat in many restaurants or use the same schools as white people. But little Cassius grew up with something that no one could take away: his big spirit. He loved running, joking, and talking loudly. His father once said, "My boy doesn't walk, he bounces." Cassius had endless energy and always wanted to be the best at everything. He dreamed of being someone important, even when other children laughed. When Cassius was 12 years old, something happened that changed his life forever. He had a new red bicycle, and he loved it more than anything. One afternoon, while he was visiting a fair, his bike was stolen. He cried and ran to a nearby policeman named Joe Martin. Through angry tears, he shouted, "I'm going to find who took my bike and whoop him." Officer Martin smiled and said, "If you're going to whoop someone, you'd better learn how to fight first." That moment was the beginning of his boxing story. Joe Martin was not only a policeman, he was also a boxing coach. He invited Cassius to his gym. From the first day, the boy loved it. He trained almost every day, skipping ropes, punching bags, and running in the streets. Even when it rained, he kept practicing. He said to himself, "I will be the greatest boxer in the world." People in the neighborhood laughed. They said, "That boy talks too much." But Cassius didn't care. He believed his words. He kept training harder than anyone else. Soon he began to win small boxing competitions. He won 6 Kentucky Golden Glove titles and 2 national ones. At only 18, he joined the 1960 Olympic Games in Rome. There, he fought with speed and confidence, and he won the gold medal. When he came back home, he expected respect, but he quickly saw that America still judged him by his skin color. Some restaurants still refused to serve him. That pain stayed in his heart, but instead of making him bitter, it made him stronger. He told himself, "I will fight, not only in the ring, but in life." From that day, Cassius Clay was not just boxing for medals. He was boxing for pride, for justice, and for a dream. A dream that one day the whole world would know his name. Chapter 2. Becoming Muhammad Ali. After winning the Olympic gold medal, young Cassius Clay came home full of joy. He had proved that a boy from a poor black family could stand on the world stage. But when he returned to America, things were still the same. He could not eat in many restaurants because of the color of his skin. He realized that medals could not change injustice. Still, he told himself, "If they won't respect me, I'll make them." Cassius began his professional boxing career soon after the Olympics. He trained harder than ever. He was fast, strong, and confident. But there was something else that made him special: his words. Most boxers were quiet, but Cassius talked a lot before fights. He said things like, "I'm the greatest," "I'm too fast," I'm too pretty to be hit. He said it with a smile, full of energy and rhythm. At first, people thought he was just showing off. But soon, they realized he could back up his words with skill. He started winning fight after fight. His movements were smooth, like dance steps. He would dodge punches and make jokes while fighting. Reporters began to follow him everywhere. They had never seen a boxer like him. Then came the big moment. In 1964, at just 22 years old, he was chosen to fight Sonny Liston, the world heavyweight champion. Liston was huge, powerful, and feared by everyone. People thought Cassius would lose quickly. But Cassius believed in himself. He shouted, "Float like a butterfly, sting like a bee." When the fight began, he moved fast, punched smart, and confused Liston. In round 7, Liston gave up. Cassius Clay was now the new world champion. After the fight, the world expected him to celebrate. But Cassius had a bigger surprise. He announced that he had converted to Islam. He said, "Cassius Clay is my slave name. I am now Muhammad Ali." He had met Malcolm X, a strong and intelligent man from the Nation of Islam, who taught him about pride, freedom, and faith. Ali believed that by changing his name, he was becoming free, not just as a man, but as a human being with dignity. Many people didn't understand. Some were angry. Some called him a traitor. Others refused to use his new name. But Ali didn't care. He said calmly, "I know who I am, and I won't let anyone tell me who to be." Ali continued to win fights and inspire millions. He was fast, funny, and brave. But soon, a new battle appeared, not inside the boxing ring, but in his life. The United States was at war with Vietnam, and the government wanted him to become a soldier. But Ali said no. He said, "I ain't got no quarrel with them Viet Cong. They never called me names." He refused to fight a war that he believed was wrong. The government punished him. They took away his boxing license and his world title. They called him unpatriotic. Some fans turned against him. He faced the possibility of 5 years in jail. For almost 3 years, he couldn't box during the best time of his career. But Ali stood tall and proud. He said, "I will not betray my faith for money or fame. I'd rather lose everything than lose myself." At that moment, Muhammad Ali became more than a boxer. He became a symbol of courage, a man who stood for what was right, even when the whole world was against him. Chapter 3. The man who refused to stay down. Muhammad Ali had lost everything. His world championship title was gone. His boxing license was taken away. He had no fights, no money, and no future in the ring. But deep inside, he still had one thing: his belief. Ali refused to say sorry for standing by his faith. He said, quote, "I have nothing to lose by telling the truth." During the 3 years he was banned, Ali did not hide from the world. He traveled across America, giving speeches at universities, schools, and community halls. He talked about peace, freedom, and justice. He spoke about the pain of racism and the importance of faith. Many young people, both black and white, listened to him and admired his courage. They saw that he was not only a boxer, he was a leader with a voice. In 1970, after 3 long years, Ali's boxing ban was finally lifted. He could fight again. His comeback match was in Atlanta against Jerry Quarry. Ali won, and the crowd went wild. It was as if a hero had returned from exile, but he knew the real test was still ahead. In 1971, the world waited for one of the biggest fights in history: Muhammad Ali versus Joe Frazier. Both men were undefeated champions. It was called the Fight of the Century. The match took place at Madison Square Garden in New York. Celebrities, presidents, and reporters from around the world filled the seats. The fight was intense, round after round, punch after punch. Ali moved with speed and grace, but 3 years away from the ring had slowed him down. In the 15th round, Frazier hit him with a powerful left hook. Ali fell, then got up again, refusing to quit. When the fight ended, the judges gave the victory to Frazier. Ali had lost, but the world did not stop loving him. They admired his heart. They admired that he kept standing up. Ali didn't stop there. He continued to fight some of the hardest matches in history. He fought Ken Norton, who broke his jaw during the fight. Most people would have quit, but Ali kept going. He lost that match but came back and won the rematch. He fought Joe Frazier again and beat him in the second fight. Ali's body was hurting, but his mind was stronger than ever. In 1974, he got another chance at the world heavyweight title against George Foreman, a younger, stronger, and undefeated fighter. The fight was set in Zaire, Africa, and was called the Rumble in the Jungle. Everyone believed Foreman would destroy Ali, but Ali had a secret plan called the rope-a-dope. He leaned against the ropes, let Foreman punch again and again, and waited. Round after round, Foreman grew tired. Then, in round 8, Ali exploded with speed and power. He hit Foreman with a perfect combination. Foreman fell. Ali stood tall and shouted to the crowd, "I am still the greatest!" The stadium shook with cheers. People cried and danced in the streets. At 32 years old, Muhammad Ali became the world champion again. But more than that, he became a symbol of hope. A man who proved that even when the world knocks you down, you can rise again stronger than before. Chapter 4, The Silent Warrior. By the late 1970s, Muhammad Ali was still a champion, but time was catching up with him. He was no longer the fast young man who danced around the ring like a butterfly. His body was tired, his movements slower, but his spirit was still full of fire. He didn't fight for money anymore. He fought for pride, for legacy, and for the love of his fans. In 1978, Ali faced a young boxer named Leon Spinks. Spinks was strong, hungry, and much younger. To everyone's surprise, Spinks beat Ali and took his world title. But Ali did not stay down for long. Just 7 months later, in the rematch, he trained harder than ever and won back the championship belt. He became the first boxer in history to win the world heavyweight title 3 times. The world cheered, and people everywhere shouted his name, "Ali, Ali, Ali!" But behind the cheers, something was changing. Years of punches and long fights had damaged his body. Ali started to feel weak. His hands sometimes shook. He often felt tired, and his speech became slower. Doctors warned him to retire, but Ali loved boxing too much. He said, "A man who is not courageous enough to take risks will accomplish nothing in life." In 1980, he decided to make one last comeback. He faced Larry Holmes, his former sparring partner. Holmes was younger, faster, and full of energy. Ali trained hard, but couldn't keep up. The fight was painful to watch. Round after round, Holmes hit him, but Ali refused to fall. Finally, in the 10th round, his trainer stopped the fight. Ali sat quietly in the corner. He didn't complain. He simply said, "I had to find out if I still had it. I didn't. Now I know." A year later, in 1981, Ali fought one last time against Trevor Berbick in the Bahamas. He lost, but that night marked the end of his boxing career. The world knew it was time for the greatest to hang up his gloves. Soon after, doctors gave him the news. He had Parkinson's disease, a condition caused by years of head injuries. It made his hands tremble and his speech slow. For a man known for his fast moves and quick words, it was heartbreaking. But Ali did not feel sorry for himself. He said, "God gave me Parkinson's to remind me that even the greatest can be tested." For a man known for his fast moves and quick words, it was heartbreaking. But Ali did not feel sorry for himself. He said, "God gave me Parkinson's to remind me that even the greatest can be tested." He met leaders and kings, but always stayed humble. He used his fame to help others and to speak for peace. In 1996, the Olympic Games were held in Atlanta, Georgia. The whole world was watching when a surprise moment came. Muhammad Ali appeared, holding the Olympic torch. His hands trembled. His movements were slow, but his eyes were strong. He lifted the torch and lit the Olympic flame, the symbol of strength and courage. The stadium went silent, and then millions of people began to clap, cry, and cheer. It was one of the most emotional moments in Olympic history. Ali stood there, shaking, but proud. He had once fought with his fists, but now he fought with his heart. Even in silence, he showed the world what true greatness meant. Chapter 5. The Champion of Hearts. Muhammad Ali was no longer the loud young boxer shouting, "I am the greatest!" His voice had become soft and his movements slow. But even as his body weakened, his heart grew stronger. He was no longer just a champion in the ring. He became a champion of hearts. Ali had 9 children, and he loved them deeply. He often said that his children were his greatest trophies. He wanted them to be kind, strong, and proud. One of his daughters, Layla Ali, followed in his footsteps. She became a professional boxer and, just like her father, never lost a single fight. Ali was proud of her, but also worried. He knew how hard the sport could be. Still, when she won, his smile lit up the room. Ali's wife, Lani Ali, was his greatest support. They had known each other since childhood. As his illness grew worse, Lani became his voice, his strength, and his daily caregiver. She helped him walk, eat, and even pray. She once said, "He may not move fast anymore, but his spirit still runs free." Even when Ali could no longer speak clearly, he continued to travel and inspire people. He visited schools, mosques, hospitals, and charity events. He met presidents, kings, and children, and treated everyone with the same respect. He raised millions of dollars for charity, helped poor families, and supported education. He was always smiling, even when his hands trembled. People said, "When he smiles, the whole room lights up." Ali received many honors for his work. He was awarded the Presidential Medal of Freedom, one of the highest awards in America. He was named BBC Sports Personality of the Century. He was honored by the United Nations for his peace work. Schools, streets, and even airports were named after him. But when people congratulated him, he would simply say, "All I did was try to serve others." As the years passed, his health declined, but his message became stronger. He taught the world that greatness is not only about winning fights, it's about lifting others. When he entered a room, people stood up, not because he was famous, but because he represented courage, humility, and love. Even when he could barely speak, his presence spoke louder than words. On June 3, 2016, the world received sad news. Muhammad Ali had passed away at the age of 74 in Phoenix, Arizona. The news spread across the globe within minutes. Millions of people cried. The world didn't just lose a boxer, it lost a hero of humanity. His funeral was held on June 10, 2016 in Louisville, Kentucky, the city where he was born. It was not a day of sadness. It was a celebration of his life. More than 100,000 people lined the streets to say goodbye. Children held flowers. Old men cried. People of all faiths, Muslims, Christians, Jews, and others, stood together. They all said the same words, "We love you, Ali." His coffin was carried through the city, past the neighborhoods where he once ran as a boy. He was buried at Cave Hill Cemetery, under a simple stone. On it were the words that defined his life. "Service to others is the rent you pay for your room in heaven." Even in death, Muhammad Ali continued to teach the world about love, service, and the power of the human spirit. He had entered the ring of life and left as a champion forever. Chapter 6. The Lessons He Left Behind. When Muhammad Ali passed away, the world didn't fall silent. It began to speak louder. People everywhere, from small villages to big cities, shared stories about him. Some had met him in person. Others had only watched him on television. But all of them said the same thing. He didn't just fight in the ring. He fought for something bigger. Ali's life became more than just a story about boxing. It became a lesson about courage, faith, and kindness. Even when he could barely move, he never stopped trying to help others. He visited orphanages and hospitals quietly, without cameras or reporters. He would sit with sick children, hold their hands, and make them laugh. One nurse said, his hands were shaking, but when he smiled, the whole room felt peaceful. Ali once saw on the news that a man was about to jump from a tall building in Los Angeles. Without hesitation, he rushed to the scene. He climbed up and sat next to the man for 30 minutes, talking gently about hope and life. Finally, the man agreed to come down. Ali had saved his life. Not with his fists, but with his words and kindness. In 1990, during a dangerous time in Iraq, Ali traveled there to help free American hostages. He met with the leader, Saddam Hussein, and asked for peace. Many people were afraid to go, but Ali went anyway and returned home with the hostages safely. Even though he was sick, he showed that real bravery comes from compassion. Ali often visited homeless shelters, bringing food and love. He didn't call reporters or take pictures. He believed that true kindness needs no spotlight. He said, "Service to others is the rent you pay for your room in heaven." The world learned many lessons from him, not only about boxing, but about life itself. Here are some of the most powerful lessons Muhammad Ali left behind. 1. Believe in yourself before anyone else does. Ali said, "I am the greatest, even before I knew I was." He taught us that confidence starts inside your heart. 2. Stand for what is right, even when you stand alone. When he refused to fight in the Vietnam War, people hated him. But years later, the same people called him a hero. He showed that truth always wins in the end. 3. Work hard, even when you don't feel like it. Ali trained harder than anyone. He said, "Don't quit. Suffer now and live the rest of your life as a champion." Success, he believed, was built through discipline and sacrifice. 4. Be bigger than your job. Ali wasn't only a boxer, he became a symbol of peace, equality, and hope. He used his fame to help others and change the world. 5. If you fall, rise again. Ali was knocked down in fights, but he always stood up. He taught that falling down isn't failure. Staying down is. 6. Speak boldly, but live humbly. He loved to talk big, but his actions were full of love. He said, "It's not bragging if you can back it up." Yet he spent his life helping quietly behind the scenes. 7. Use your voice for the voiceless. Ali spoke out against racism and unfairness. He reminded us that silence helps injustice grow. 8. Find your purpose. Ali fought not only for trophies, but for truth, freedom, and dignity. He knew that life without purpose is like a body without a soul. 9. Greatness is not given. It's created. Ali wasn't born rich or powerful. He built himself with sweat, belief, and love. 10. Even silence can inspire. When he lit the Olympic flame in 1996 with shaking hands, he said nothing, but the whole world cried. His silence became the loudest speech about courage ever spoken. At the end of his life, Ali taught one final lesson. You don't have to be the best boxer, the fastest runner, or the smartest student to be great. You just have to live with truth, kindness, and courage. He once said, "Champions aren't made in gyms. They are made from something deep inside them, a dream, a desire, a vision." And that's why, even today, people around the world still call him the greatest. If this story touched your heart, remember Ali's message. Believe in yourself, stand for truth, serve others, keep learning English, and keep growing every day. Subscribe and stay with us for more stories that teach you English and life lessons together. Because, as Muhammad Ali said, service to others is the rent you pay for your room in heaven. Let's keep serving the world, one story at a time.